The distress beacon pierced through the void like a dying star's last gasp. Frank's cargo hauler, the Steadfast, was 3 days from any civilized port when the signal reached his scanners. Most pilots would have ignored it. Space was vast, and stopping for strangers often meant trouble. But Frank had never been most pilots. "Helen, what VE we got?" He called to his co-pilot that Helen's fingers danced across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Unknown vessel, heavily damaged. Life signs. Frank, the readings are off the scale. Whatever's in there is massive. Set course. Full burn." Helen shot him a look. "You know the guild regulations. I know that someone's dying out there." Frank interrupted, his jaw set. "Plot the course." 20 minutes later, they found the wreckage. The ship, if it could be called that, was unlike anything in human databases. Organic curves melded with crystalline structures, all of it scorched and torn by what looked like weapons fire. It tumbled slowly through the black, bleeding atmosphere and exotic particles. Frank suited up and crossed to the wreck via magnetic line. Helen monitored from the Steadfast, her voice crackling in his helmet. "Vitals are spiking. Whatever's in there knows you're coming." The hull breach led into a chamber that defied logic. The walls pulsed with bioluminescence, and the air, what little remained, tasted of ozone and something ancient. There, in the center, lay the dragon. It was 30 meters of scaled magnificence, even in ruin. Scales that shimmered between copper and gold were cracked and blackened. One wing lay twisted at an impossible angle. Eyes like molten amber fixed on Frank with an intelligence that made him freeze. "Human," a voice resonated in his mind. Not sound, but pure meaning. "You should not have come." Frank's hands trembled, but he moved forward. "I heard your distress call. I'm here to help." The dragon's mental voice carried amusement and pain in equal measure. "Help? Your species barely crawls among the stars. What could you offer one of the Drakith?" "Medical supplies, a way off this wreck, and a human stubborn enough to try." Frank knelt beside the massive creature, already assessing the wounds. "My ship's not big enough to carry you, but I can stabilize you until help arrives." "There is no help coming. My flight has moved on, as is our way. The weak are left to die with honor." "Well, that's a terrible system," Frank muttered, unpacking his emergency medical kit. The supplies looked absurd next to the dragon's bulk, like trying to patch a battleship with tape. "Helen, I'm going to need the industrial repair gel and every cauterizing torch we have." "Frank, those readings, it could kill you with a thought." "Then it would have done it already." He looked into those ancient eyes. "I'm guessing you don't want to die any more than I'd want to leave you here." The dragon was silent for a long moment. Then, impossibly, it lowered its massive head. "Your species is foolish beyond measure." "Very well, human. Do what you will." For 6 hours, Frank worked. He sealed breaches in the dragon's hide with industrial polymer. He used plasma torches meant for hull repair to cauterize wounds that leaked luminescent blood. Helen talked him through jury-rigging a medical scanner to work with alien physiology. It was insane, improvised, and should never have worked, but it did. When the dragon, who finally identified himself as Kervith, wingbreaker of the 7th flight, could move without agony, he stared at Frank with something approaching wondered. "No being has aided a fallen Drakith in 10,000 cycles. Your kind has been among the stars for mere moments. Yet you risk everything for a stranger." "Why?" Frank shrugged, exhausted. "Because you needed help, and I could give it." "Doesn't seem complicated." "It is the most complicated thing in the universe," Kervith replied. "And the simplest. You have given me something my own kind would not. Mercy without condition. By the ancient laws of the Drakith, you have claimed me." "I what now?" Kervith's eyes blazed with renewed fire. "You are now Drak friend, human. I am oath-bound to you until the stars grow cold. Where you go, I follow. Your enemies are mine. Your cause is mine. This is the law." Helen's voice crackled urgently. "Frank, we've got incoming ships. Lots of them. Those energy signatures, they're the same as the wreck." The Drakith had returned. Kervith struggled to his feet, pain evident in every movement. "They come to ensure my death. Your mercy has doomed you, human." "Or," Frank said, helping Helen bring the Steadfast alongside, "it's about to save us both." "Helen, open the main cargo bay. All of it. That's a third of our hull. Do it." With repulsors and sheer determination, they brought Kervith aboard, his bulk filling the massive space. The moment the bay sealed, Helen punched the engines. The Steadfast wasn't built for combat, but she was built for speed. The dragon fleet pursued, but Kervith, despite his injuries, reached out with his mind. He touched something in the ship, in Helen's navigation, in Frank's reflexes. For a moment, human and Drakkith were one, and they flew like nothing in human space had ever flown. They escaped point 3 months later. Word spread through the cosmos. Humanity had been claimed by dragonkind. Frank, the cargo pilot who stopped for a distress call, found himself ambassador to a species older than human civilization. Helen became the first human to learn dragon song navigation. And Kervith kept his oath, as his kind always did. The galaxy learned what the Drakkith had forgotten, that true strength wasn't in flying alone, but in knowing when to help those who had fallen. And that humans, foolish and young as they were, understood this instinctively. It was, the elder races agreed, a very human thing to do. And it changed everything.